like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Blitz the Bookie podcast. I'm Charlie Winkle, joined as always by Anthony Roberts. It is Monday, March the 2nd, last week of the regular season in college basketball for all the big conferences. So March is here. The madness is about to start. And even though Kentucky got throttled by Auburn this weekend, Anthony, I'm still excited about March Madness.
No doubt. You know, I've told you, Charlie, basketball don't have the same flavor as football does to me. But I will say the tournament has always been different. Even in the years that I loved college basketball and I was crazy about it, I like it now. But I just don't have that same passion as I do for college football. But as the tournament nears, I definitely can feel the excitement coming. It's still the most exciting tournament in sports.
The Super Bowl is the best event, but for a tournament, you can't beat March Madness. So the next 4 to 5 weeks should be awesome.
March Madness has the best tournament. Super Bowl is the best event. The best regular season is college football.
I agree. So, yeah, Kentucky got their ass kicked. But look, Auburn is the best team in the country. And I think they're the best team by a wide margin. I don't think Duke's as close as everybody thinks that they are.
It's hard to read with Duke.
Yeah, they haven't played anybody.
Yeah, that's it. But they are good, so it's hard. It's just a hard read. I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
I've been getting on some of my friends that are Louisville fans about some of the teams that they've been playing. So I looked at Duke's schedule.
Same teams.
It's the same.
Yep.
So we'll talk some more about college basketball and what we think of Kentucky's chances now. That look, the loss to Auburn doesn't bother me that much, but there was some news after the game. Jaxon Robinson out for the year, wrist injury, is having surgery. So that concerns me more than the actual loss to the best team in the country. So we'll talk about what we think Kentucky's chances are of making a big run here without Jaxon Robinson. Do have a little bit of NFL news, some combine news. We'll get into all that. Before we do, guys, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to check us out. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your favorite streaming platforms and check us out on the Blitz the Bookie Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube pages. All right, Anthony, how you feeling after the ass whooping Kentucky took this week?
For me, it all started when, I guess, the 38-1 team Kentucky had. I realized right then the regular season don't mean nothing in college basketball. It really don't. You get you a little seed for the tournament, but, you know, that Kentucky team went 38-1. I would say that's bigger accomplishment than winning a national title. I mean, it's a hell of an accomplishment in itself, but people don't remember you. All that matters is that tournament. We've seen it with Cal, with, you know, the results. The tournament means everything to college basketball, and how you perform in it, where you finish.
It does, but you got to you do have to build you a resume.
You do,
but I mean, look at Kentucky right now. Look, we're 19-11.
Yeah,
on the surface,
it might give us one easier game, but at the end of the day, we're going to have to play good ball, and we're going to have to be able to get through the tournament.
But my point is, on the surface, 19-11 is not a great record.
Sure, but we had a tough schedule.
Had a real tough schedule.
Yeah.
And we built ourselves a resume to the point where we are 19-11 and we're a top 4 seed still.
Sure, but if we didn't have that hard schedule, we'd have a lot better record.
I get that, but you also got 11 lost teams right now that are not in the tournament.
Sure.
My point is, the regular season isn't pointless. You do have to get in that tournament.
Yeah, you got to get in.
Look at North Carolina right now. I think they've got maybe the same exact record that we have. I think they're 19-11. I don't even know if they're projected to be in the tournament right now.
If they're 19-11 playing the ACC, they shouldn't be in the tournament.
But we could be 19-11 right now and be out too, even with our schedule. But you know why we're in? Because we've got 3 top 5 wins. We've got 6 top 15 wins. We've got all the quad 1 wins that we've talked about. not only played the hard schedule, but we've won a lot of big games, beat a lot of really good teams. So I do think, even with our schedule being as tough as it is, if those 11 losses come to different teams, we could be out.
Yep.
So you do got to build that resume. But, I mean, ultimately, yeah, it all comes down to just get in the tournament. And that's what's so great about March, especially for the small teams. The small teams that are playing right now, one of the tournaments started today and 2 more start tomorrow. Those teams know that they got to win their tournament to get in.
And for those people, don't get me wrong, there's some of them that get hot and can get to the second weekend every once in a while. But for them just to win it and get in, that's their big event. That's their big event. Yeah. Just go and dance.
To some of those teams, especially when we're talking 16 seeds, 15 seeds, maybe even 14 seeds, getting in the tournament is their championship.
Yeah. You see some 14. I never thought you would see a 16 seed win.
Tony Bennett.
Yep.
I didn't think it would ever happen either.
I just thought that the 16s were really bad. I always thought the 16s, like the drop between the 16s and 15s, as crazy as that sounds.
Did it happen again like 2 years ago?
I thought it just happened once. Did it happen twice? You might be right. I know there's been several 14 seeds.
I don't know why. I'm thinking a second number 1 seed lost like 2 years later. I know for a fact the first one was Virginia, though.
There has been 2. I'm going to find the other one out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 2 years after that one.
Okay.
Probably just like 2 years ago. I want to say that the Virginia one happened in 2020.
I think it was Purdue and West Carolina. I remember that game. That was a few years back. No, Purdue almost lost to West Carolina in 96. Yeah. In 2023, the number 1 seed Purdue and I remember watching that game. Purdue and FDU. I remember that.
So 2 number 1 seeds. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's trending in a different direction. It never happened before, and then twice in 4 or 5 years.
The 3-point shot's the equalizer. It just is. Basketball's a game where if you're not hitting your shots, you can be beat.
So you want to talk about that, a little bit of NFL stuff we got before we go into this basketball?
We can. So a few things. Of course, Matthew Stafford and the Rams supposedly have agreed to make a deal.
Yep.
So
back.
Yeah. So I don't think he's officially back, but they have agreed to, hey, we're going to make this happen. We're not looking to trade. I don't think the deal was actually made. It was like an agreement to make a deal.
Yeah, but I think it sounds like it's pretty much done.
So look, I think it's great. I think the Rams were really close. I think I had a really strong future bet with the odds I had. Man, I think I was close there. And I'll be honest with you. I know people probably think I'm a Rams lover from hearing this. Dude, I think they're right there. Their defense was really young and got really good at the end of the year. They're going to have that defense on the cheap and what they got on offense. So really excited about the Rams. I'm glad Stafford's back. At the end of the day, I think that was a good fit for him with McVay, and he's 5-2 in playoff games since leaving Detroit. They won the Super Bowl the first year. In the last 2 years, they lost to Detroit the year before last on a pass interference call, like in the second or third round. Yes, and they played Philly tougher than anybody. The Rams, for the last 3 years with Stafford in L.A., he's really, if he can have a really good year, maybe possibly go to a Super Bowl, win it, the guy, he really can move up as far as status goes. I feel like Stafford's a top guy, but he ain't at that elite level yet. If he wins that, does he go to the elite level?
He's already elite.
I know, but does he go to that Manning, Brady? Does he
think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I do.
I do too.
I do. But there's that very elite level Montana.
If he wins another Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I mean, if he makes it to another one,
it takes him up, but it don't get him in that conversation with the greats. When I say greats, I'm talking about the greatest. That 4 or 5, that's the greatest. He gets in that next group of 5 with the Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that.
It'd be hard to put him in the top 4, but I love Stafford.
If he wins a Super Bowl, I think you got to. If he wins the Super Bowl, that'd give him 2 Super Bowls.
2.
And he held the Detroit up during some bad years, man. Everybody's seen that. Everybody knew that.
It'd still be tough. I like Stafford, but it's still, of course, he wouldn't pass Brady.
No.
You could maybe argue the Manning thing. I mean,
I don't think he passed it. Manning had too many good regular seasons. He did.
Stafford had a bunch too.
The guy can play. I hate it almost like Kevin Garnett a little bit. I think Kevin Garnett wasted his best years in Minnesota. He got to Boston, but he was a little older, and he played well there, but his best years he wasted in that city. I worry about that for Giannis. Now, they did get a championship, but everybody would tell you that watched Detroit, Stafford wasn't a problem. He was keeping them above water in Detroit. So
when Stafford broke his collarbone,
yep,
or did whatever, dislocated his shoulder, whatever he did, he was damn injured, and goes back out there and throws the game-winning touchdown. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I do. I know he still got a Halancer on him.
That was some gutsy shit right there, and that was the moment that I knew that Stafford was about it.
You know, when you watch him, and look, we know the game's changed. I'm not going down there, and whether you like it or not, that's not the argument for today. But when you watch him throwing compared to some of these quarterbacks today, just the precision he puts it there, the arm, the Halancer. Now, he don't have the legs those boys got, and that's where the argument can be made for whatever side you like. But just the accuracy of the arm, the strength of the arm, the knowledge of the game, to me, it's a thing of beauty.
Well, he was going back there because his people probably went up to New York and went to the Raiders and talked to them and probably came back and said, look, dude.
Let's make a deal.
So I'm glad they got it done, man. I know we made some guesses on where we thought Stafford would go, but ultimately both of us wanted him back in L.A., and I think that's the best spot for him. Finish it out.
Good weather.
Finish it out with McVay and see what you can do. You're not going to go somewhere else, especially not the Giants or the Raiders, and do anything better than you're going to do with the Rams.
So they're set up to win. Everybody's talked about this young defense they got, and they're going to have them on the cheap for the next handful of years. That's how you win the NFL, is through the rookie contracts and drafting well. They're set up to win right now with that cheap defense. They got good pieces on offense. I think they're trying to trade away Cup, which I actually think is a pretty decent move. I like Cup. But
he's going to be moving.
Yeah.
He will not be back in L.A.
But they'll get something out of him. They're trying to get some value out of him. And
I don't know what they will get out of him.
Yeah, I have to look at it, how much of a contract he got. And
Deebo went to Washington for a 5th-round pick.
Sure, it's all about contract. But 49ers had no leverage in that because Washington knew they needed to get him off the books. And I think Deebo's contract, from what I've read, was bad compared to what his output was.
But I'm just saying, if he brings a 5th-round pick,
but a lot of it goes from their contract. Like what's on the books? What are they buying out?
Well, I'm sure Cup's getting paid too.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're probably right.
But yeah, Deebo to Washington, I think is great move for them, especially only giving up a 5th-round pick. Deebo's getting a little bit older. He is a little bit prone to getting hurt, but if he can stay healthy, I think that's a great addition for them. I like the move. 2 years.
That's why they didn't get much. Deebo does have a monster contract. He has a 3-year, 71. Cup's making a little under 20 a year. Deebo's making about 25. So Cup's contract ain't bad. Look, Deebo's solid, but he's been hurt a lot.
Cup's been hurt.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's aging too.
I agree with that. Let me tell you, today's NFL, as I'm learning about the contracts, it's all about it's all about the rookie contract now. That's what it's about. Hitting in the draft.
Well, the Eagles, they cut Slay today. Darius Slay. He's like 34 years old.
It's a business decision.
I think it was the general manager that said, we're going to need some of our guys on rookie contracts to step up.
Look, you can't sign everybody, and you gotta look to the future too. So it's a business, and it's not the team with the best players. It's the team with the best players on the best contracts.
Yeah, so they just cut him.
Yep, and I read where they didn't want to do that, but it was just really just a.
Oh, he's been there forever. He's an Eagle for life, no matter where he goes.
I feel like they feel pretty good about Cooper.
Yeah, and they got got another young corner too.
No, what's the name?
What's
really
the name?
good.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. But the Eagles got 2 young ones, and they're talking about possibly moving your boy Cooper to the outside.
Okay.
They're debating whether they want to keep him inside or move him to the outside. But they got that other kid. The other kid, I think he might be a rookie too. Dude, his name is right on the tip of my tongue.
You had Slay and Mitchell.
No.
What's his name? We'll find it here in a second.
So what do you think about Deebo to Washington?
I like Deebo. When Deebo's healthy, he's good.
It's all about, can he stay healthy, dude?
Deebo's really good.
He is one of the most versatile wide receivers in the game, but he just can't stay healthy.
So when I was young, I used to always say, oh, go ahead and sign him. That's just dumb luck. He'll stay healthy. But as I get older, I realize some people are just injury prone. And I think some of it, not all of it, I'm not saying his, But I do think there are certain players that just don't play through injuries. They're not willing to do it. But before I sign guys, like I do think that matters. As I'm getting older, I'm understanding the business side of it. I do think it matters, a guy that stays healthy. A guy that gets injured all the time, just through watching the NFL a lot, certain players just get hurt. Anthony Davis. I mean, I love Anthony Davis, but I feel like he's always hurt. But the big thing in the NFL now is the rookie deal. That's why teams like Philly are set and sweep. That's why rookie quarterbacks don't set no more. That's not the strategy no more. The strategy is get that quarterback in day one, throw him into the fire. Hopefully you got something good.
So they're saying these deals can't be official until the league year officially starts, which is on March 12th.
I gotcha.
So that's when all that stuff, I guess the Stafford stuff and the Deebo, all that stuff will end up being official on March 12th.
And talking about the
Deebo is 29. So if Deebo's 20, I actually thought he was a couple years older.
Deebo's good, dude.
29 years old. If he can stay healthy, he's got a handful of years left.
I'm surprised Washington spent that money there. I felt like their offense was really good. You know, I thought they might want to spend their money on defense. So
they got rid of one of the receivers, though.
Okay, and maybe they think, okay.
Not McLaurin. I think what was the other one? Dotson, maybe?
Okay, yeah, I think you're right.
Second receiver they got rid of. So now they have Terry McLaurin and Deebo. If Deebo stays healthy, I think it's a great pick.
Oh, no doubt. No, if he stays healthy, he's great.
That roster does need some work. And it's going to take more than just Deebo, but I like the pickup.
Yeah, and I like especially they got rid of one of their receivers.
I'm pretty sure it was Dotson.
That's the big thing anymore. It's all about the contracts and trying to hit in the draft.
Real quick, take a guess. Now that one piece fell with Stafford, where do you think Rodgers is going to go? I'm leaning that he's going to end up in the Giants.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Giants and the Raiders are pushing for him.
I think it makes sense. The Giants, they need to win now. The Giants either going to have to go after him, or they're going to have to take Cam and roll with their rookie.
Darnold's still out there too.
Yeah, but I don't think they trust. I think they go Rodgers. They got the number 2 pick, so they could get Cam if he's there, which more likely is not unless Tennessee moves that pick. I don't think Tennessee likes the quarterbacks, but Tennessee has said that pick is somebody wants it. They're willing to listen to offers. But as of now, I think a lot of people think if Tennessee takes the pick, they're going to take Abdul Carter, defensive lineman. They just don't like. They say they do not like the quarterbacks in the draft, and I kind of agree with
Abdul Carter is a cannot miss.
Yep.
Cannot miss.
Agree.
So I'm going to say Rodgers to the Giants, and I'm going to say Darnold goes to the Raiders.
I like both. I think you're right on both. I really do.
Looks like Minnesota is all set.
JJ.
Rock and roll with JJ.
Rookie contract.
They love him. They
like that rookie contract too, but I like JJ too, so let's go.
All right, you was going to talk some. We got a couple notes on the combine.
I'm not going to get too crazy with the combine. I know some people are combine junkies. Just want to, talk about a few losers, few winners. Our Kentucky boy and where he's projected to go, and maybe then just touch on a little bit of something I read in college football as these teams get ready for spring practice. So winners and losers from the combine. They say 2 of the biggest losers was Cam Scatabo was one of the biggest losers in the combine.
Bullshit.
That's what they said. I'm just going by things I read. I wasn't at the combine.
He must not have juiced up.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Lay on.
Dude, he's just
he was scared of the test.
He's 4 foot tall. He don't got the measurement.
What do you think his vertical was?
It wasn't much. He ain't a guy that's going to have the measurements and stuff. So you just got to trust that.
Like probably bench press.
Yeah, he probably had to do a drug test going into the combine. That probably was a problem. Probably the problems. And they said the other big loser is actually a guy that I like, Tez Johnson at Oregon. He was their number 1 receiver there, and Tez Johnson, they said he just wasn't fast. I heard a guy that I talk about, there's game speed and there's 40 speed. He'll be fine in the game. Devontae Smith at Philly, he didn't have a really fast 40. But they say the guys that aren't as bulky, they can't run as fast in a straight line, but they're in and out of cuts a little better. Guys like Devontae Smith, Tez Johnson, the thinner guys. So I see both sides of the argument. Look, I'm not a big just hard numbers guy of the combine. I understand why the NFL uses it because everybody's in a different situation. It gets to see their athletic ability, but there's another part of that. Jerry Rice never was crazy fast, but Deion, I tell you, he never was fast, like in those kind of events. But when the ball was in the air, he was stupid fast breaking to the ball. And that's coming from Deion, maybe the best corner of all time. So there's different speeds. There's straight line speeds and there's football speed, if you ask me. So, I mean, they use the combine for a good tool. But then we're your two biggest losers. And actually, one of your biggest winners, and I hadn't got a chance to look into all of them.
Hold on, before you get to the winners.
Yep.
I didn't watch any combine. I haven't looked at anything. I did see a couple videos of some winners, so I'll let you talk about your winners, and then I'll talk about the video I saw. But speaking of losers, did you see anything about our boy, Deion Walker? Because
no, I did not.
He's been a loser in the draft. I mean, not in the I don't know what he did in the combine, but in just his draft stock over the last few months throughout the season, he's been a loser when it comes to that.
Yeah.
He dropped big time. So I'm hoping that he had a good combine to maybe get back up there. He was projected in the top 10. I think he was projected 4th or 6th at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I want to say he's like a 2nd or 3rd round pick right now.
Yep. No,
It's a big fall.
He'll have to go earn his money. The good thing for him is he earned a pretty good little amount of money from Kentucky. I'm going to guesstimate he made $4 or $5 million at Kentucky.
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
You know how much he could have made?
Oh,
for 6
yeah.
in the draft.
Well, they don't make as much as like they say. There's more. They say there's more money in staying in college, and they say Jake Daniels.
No way.
They say Jake Daniels. I think only made $1 million last year, and like Carson Beck
got a huge signing bonus.
I don't know how that works. I don't.
They get their contract, yeah, but signing bonus and endorsements and everything.
They were comparing Jaden Daniels and Carson Beck and saying like how Carson Beck's going to make more money, and I know that sounds crazy.
Carson Beck because he doesn't have a chance to be the number 6 pick or the top 5 pick. Honestly, when it comes to contracts and all that stuff, I
don't know a lot about him either. I'm getting better at him, though.
It's hard to keep track of what's good and what's not because the numbers always move and the market's always changing.
As I've really got into NFL, and I'll say that's probably my biggest thing that's changed for me is that I've really got a love for the NFL now, and especially as college football is changing, I might as well like it because it's about the same thing.
I hate the contract side of it.
But I've learned that it's not the best players. It's the best players with the best contracts. I know I said that 3 times, but Deion Walker dropping like that, I hate that for him. But, he'll get his chance, and he'll prove it. If he's good enough, he'll prove it. If not,
he should be a pretty good player. As long as he puts all his effort into it, the dude's a dominating force down there.
I know him because I've seen it. I've seen it in my own eyes, and it was actually Charlie's wife, Casey, that pointed out to me, Deion had been a freak of nature for us for about 3 years. They were doubling, tripling him, and I kept making excuses. Well, they're doubling him. And Casey kept saying he ain't giving the effort. It was about halfway through his last year. And she said that, I kind of said, oh, they're just doing this. First thing came to my mind. Well, then I start watching him. She was right, man. He was kind of dogging it. Did losing those games, I know the team kind of lost their mojo and kind of the good culture they had. Did losing those games, playing that tough schedule, did that break the team? Did that break a guy like Deion Walker? I would tell him he's stupid for doing that. You played for 3.5 years at a high level and really gave it your all. Why wouldn't you finish out strong? But can losing do that to you, Charlie?
I think it absolutely can, and we've talked about it before. We talked about it maybe with Levis in his 2nd year. Sometimes these guys are looking to the future.
I don't blame them.
And after a couple losses and maybe their goals for the season are down the drain.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of them look to the future, and I don't want to say don't play as hard, but
I'll say it.
Maybe not play as hard.
Yeah, I'll say it.
Maybe not play as hard.
And I get it. But at the same time, you're screwing yourself because
how different Levis played that 2nd year? Remember how he would never run the ball?
Yeah.
And we talked about it all year. Why is he not running?
No doubt.
And then halfway through the year, we was like, hold on. Is he not running because he doesn't want to get hurt and he doesn't want to beat up his body?
Mm-hmm.
And then later in the year, we're like, oh, he's definitely not running. He's protecting himself. And he's not the only one. It's just one that we noticed because he played for Kentucky. But Deion Walker probably did the same.
You know your team. We watched
like hockey.
Yeah.
Can't take a play off. You'll get your fucking head rocked.
That's right.
But you would think the same thing in football, man. You go out there in the SEC and you take a play off, dude, you might get your head rocked.
Look, no doubt. Look, I don't blame the
I guess
kids.
he's big enough to maybe get away with it.
Yep.
Man, how big is he?
He's a monster, and he can move.
6'7",
And he can move.
40 or something.
Yeah, and he can
He's
move.
fucking huge.
I think he'll be really good. But one of the biggest winners from the combine was the guy talking about that. Look, I'm guessing, and I've read a few things on it, and I like the guy. But did Maxwell Harrison at times, was he maybe not injured at the end there? Times he didn't play. He's the cornerback. He had the fastest 40 of anybody in the combine. He was our one of our star corners this year at UK. A lot of people got him projected late first round to the Baltimore Ravens, which I hate. But
please don't.
But he had the fastest 40. He had a really high vertical. He really helped himself out. But, I wondered at times this year if he wasn't kind of setting out because he'd already was kind of happy with his draft status. I know Chase did it at LSU. He didn't play a whole season. I know Bosa did it at Ohio State. I don't blame these kids for doing it. I mean, if you're going to be a top 5 pick, why take the chance? And I hate that. I hate it. I don't know how you fix it. But I definitely understand why the kids would do it for. I don't know what the answer is.
So who was the winners of the combine?
So there was several, but the two that I'm going to highlight is Maxwell Harrison. He had the fastest 40 of anybody. It was like 4.23, which was pretty impressive. Had a really high vertical jump. And then also Cam Ward. They say Cam Ward will not go past the number 2 pick. Tennessee's got the number 1 pick. They do not like the quarterbacks in the draft. They said they will move that pick, so somebody could come in there that wants a quarterback and take Cam Ward if they like him, but they say he will not go past the number 2 pick.
He seems like a guy that would do good at the combine.
Well, this is a thing that whether he did good or not, Shador, he didn't throw. So, and I told you before we got started tonight that I seen a little thing where him and Cam got a little chirping thing. Cam was calling him out. Who's the top quarterback? Cam said, you got your completion percentage because all you do is bubble screens and check downs. And then Shador came back.
You're telling me they got all that on camera?
Yeah, something like that. And I seen it with my own eyes. And they came back, and he said, I didn't have a running game. But then I seen Shador do a interview later. Man, the guy seems like he's into himself. I mean, I'm not going to get into the interview, but he was just playing the victim role. And it was like, you're trying to interview for a job. Don't play the victim role. It's a bad look. But I guess listen, I like Dion, but I don't know. I'm not blaming that on Dion, but just don't play the victim role. I don't like it. Even if you are the victim, don't play, be bigger than that. So
the only thing I saw on the combine was it was the guy for South Carolina.
Yep, the safety. I read that.
Yeah,
He wasn't one I highlighted here, but I did read that.
They said he completely dominated in like 3 different events. He ran like a 4.3 40. His vertical jump was 43 inches, which is ridiculous. And then here it is right here. 11'6" on the broad jump, which I don't know what a good number is on the broad jump, but I'm assuming 11'6" is because he was the best. He was the number 1 in the broad jump, number 1 in the vertical. It says number 1 in the bench press and second in the 40-yard dash.
Mm-hmm. I'd heard he done really well.
Second, broad jump first, vertical jump first, bench press first.
Put him on your track and field team.
Holy shit.
Guy's an athlete.
Yeah.
He's an athlete.
That's
a big part of it. It's not all of it, but it's a big part of it. I do have a bold prediction. I listened to those guys talk about Travis Hunter. That was a big topic. And there's a lot of people that believe that he won't be a two-way player, that he's listed as a corner, but there's a lot of people believe that he's a better wide receiver than he is corner. He's a very unique player that they've never had a player come out that's good on both. But there's a lot of people say he's good on both, and he might be one of the greatest athletes overall ever, but he ain't really a freak prospect at either one. He's a really good prospect at both, but he's not a freak prospect at either one. He ain't one of the best corners they've ever seen, and he ain't one of the best wide receivers they've ever
but you got 2 chances.
You do. I agree with that.
A really good player.
I agree with that. They say, and a guy made a point, I think it made sense. He said, it's a lot easier because the question was, well, which room do you go in during the week, film study? And he said, it's a lot easier to play defensive back first and know all your responsibilities there and dabble in offense versus being a offensive wide receiver first and dabbling in defense. Because I think what he's saying is you got to go to those meetings during the week. You got to study the coverages and stuff on defense. As a wide receiver, that's kind of the position where it's plug and play. There's not as much to learn. Them defensive coverages, the zones, the different looks, the man, how they're trying to do it, how they're trying to disguise things. I think it's a lot harder to be an offensive guy first and dabble on defense, because I think you really got to focus to become a good corner. Corner's a tough position to play.
I still think he's going to play both.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that do, but I was just listening to them guys talk.
Yeah, I still think he'll play both.
The one guy made a point that at Colorado, he didn't have to tackle much. And they said in the NFL, corners have to tackle. And, taking that wear of having to tackle all game, can you through an NFL season, can you play both ways? That's one thing that Maxwell Harrison actually had really good, came back a winner on too. The people really liked how he was as a tackler. It's going to be fun to watch. It's a good draft. I don't like the quarterbacks personally, but some people do like them. I'll go down real quick, Charlie, just some stuff I've seen on a mock draft board. So most people had Tennessee at 1 taking Abdul Carter. If they move on it, they said they wouldn't move down far, but they would move on it. Cam, number 2. The first round is going to be full of defensive linemen.
If you're the Giants, you taking Cam Ward or you taking Aaron Rodgers?
Just depends.
You're the GM. Which one you taking? Money's not an issue. What do you take? Who you want?
I'm not a huge Cam Ward. I don't hate him. I take Aaron Rodgers, so if I'm taking that, then I still got my number 2 pick. So I don't know what I'd use for the number 2 pick. I'd have to look at what they need overall. They need to win right away, because you got a coach.
Trade the 1 for the 2 and maybe a second rounder, and then take Abdul Carter.
Okay. Do you think that's yeah?
That's a good.
No, it is. They need somebody that's going to be good right away.
I think he's one of the can't miss.
I'm with you. I'm with you on with him. I like him a lot, and so that'd be so. The number 3, a lot of people have Travis Hunter going to the Giants. I think that pick makes a lot of sense for them. They need immediate help. It makes sense. Number 4, they got McMillan kid. That's the Arizona wide receiver going to New England. Skip down to number 6.
Is this an updated list after the combine?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was. This is just
I was going to say, because we read one last week.
Yeah.
So
he was a little bit further down. He moved up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering how different it is from the one we talked about last
And this is like I looked at 4, and these kind of were the general senses. This ain't were exacts, but I've seen more of this. If I seen 2, I was like, okay. So, and then I seen the Raiders at number 6, Genty. I don't hate that pick for the Raiders. The Raiders want to build like Philly. They're trying to take that blueprint of being a physical running team. So, Genty, I get that pick.
The only thing the Raiders got going for them is Thomas Brady.
Yep. They got Max Crosby. They got a few little things, but not a lot.
You're right. They do got Max Crosby. I forgot about
He's a baller. He's a baller. So I want to mention this pick because I'm predicting a big year from the Bears, or a big improvement. I like the coach they got. The Bears will take Will Campbell from LSU. He's listed as offensive tackle, but he'll have the second or third shortest arms ever. And a lot of people think he'll never play tackle at the Bears, but they said he'd be a stud guard. He'd be a starter from day one. And the Bears are really trying to focus on building their offensive line that they had struggled with, so that makes sense. Jumping at number 11, a lot of people think the 49ers are going to take Mason Graham, the big DT out of Michigan. He's a stud. And just rounding out, we're going to jump all the way down to 27 just because he's a local boy. And I know we got some Ravens fans that listen. I seen 2 draft boards out of 5 that had Maxwell Harrison going to the Ravens at number 27. Maxwell really helped himself with the combine. He was already a good player for us, but I would say he was more of a second-round pick, but he really moved up to a late first-round pick, it looks like.
Where's my boy at?
Who's that? A Warren?
Kyle McCord.
Kyle McCord. I didn't see, but we can look. We can look. I seen Warren going to the Warren Jets. I seen a couple Jets on him. I just didn't mention him, but I seen a couple early, like top 7, 8 picks.
What about the Louisville quarterback, Tyler Shuck?
I don't know. I didn't see it. I
want to say that I heard that he did pretty good at the combine.
I'd heard Rex told me, my son told me.
What?
That he had helped himself out at the combine.
Yeah, I think I heard the same thing.
So they got Kyle McCord. He now carries a 3rd-round grade and holds the number 3 spot on this guy's quarterback rankings. So
it's super sleeper in the 3rd round.
He can sling it.
Somebody's going to luck into a great quarterback in the 3rd round.
Kyle
I hope it's
McCord.
the Dolphins.
Hey, if I needed one, I would take a chance on
Please let the Dolphins draft him.
Kyle McCord. So that was it from the Combine, guys. I love talking a little football talk.
I got one more note. Football. Yep. Jimmy Johnson retired. Jimmy Johnson. He was on the very first episode of Fox NFL Sunday in 1994, the first time that Fox got the broadcast. That's how long he's been on there. 31 years. Now, he was on there for 2 years. Then he went to the Dolphins and was the Dolphins head coach for like 4 or 5 years and then went back. But, yeah, he's been there. He's been hard to believe that Jimmy Johnson's been in the booth since 94.
Been in football a long time.
4 or 5 year stint there with the Dolphins. But
remember when he was with the Hurricane? We were young. Yeah. We were really young.
Yeah, we were young. Yeah. We were young. Then it was the Cowboys.
I want to think, did he start off at Oklahoma State? Like, I think I read that. I would have been too young to remember, but I don't know where he started.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not either. Look, he's always carried himself with class, never really got in no trouble. He's had a good career.
I always thought Jimmy was pretty good on there, so.
No doubt.
Jimmy, he gone. Before we get to college basketball.
Let me touch on one note real quick. Reports are Mike Hartline is for the quality control coach, been hired at UK. Brother Brian Hartline, I think he was the offensive coordinator for Ohio State, or maybe quarterback's coach. He's really made a name for himself. Actually, he might be in the NFL now. But Mike Hartline.
You talking about Mike Hartline?
Yep, quarterback for us over the years. I like it. His brother's pretty sharp.
He had a really good senior year, too.
And he was smart. He never was a freak athlete, but he was the guy that was smart, that got the most out of his body. His brother Brian, they come from a coaching family. His brother Brian's made a big name for himself in coaching.
He was a good receiver at Ohio State.
He was. So
he played for the Dolphins too. I think for a while Brian did. He was a receiver for the Dolphins.
And they never were freak athletes. It's one thing to make it when you're a freak athlete, but when you're got just average talent, but you make it and you're smart, and his brother's done good as a coach, I anticipate Mike doing good. Mike was always a heady guy at UK. I like the quality control guy, and I look for him to move up. And that will be fun to watch because I was always a Mark Hartline guy. I never thought he got the credit he deserved here. He wasn't a freak, but, dude, he was the general of the offense. He did what he needed.
He had a good senior year, man.
Yeah, dude. He was solid. Didn't make a lot of mistakes.
Somebody got hurt, didn't he?
Yeah. Was that
hurt?
I forget. Was that guy right after Lorenzen that was putting up the big numbers? What was his name? Like Boomer Bonner? Dusty Bonner? Was he? I don't know.
It was somebody, because that's how he got his chance, because somebody got hurt. And he ended up, he had a really good senior.
Was that when they were trying to force
Morgan Newton? Yeah, you know what? I think that's who it was.
Remember, I
think it was Morgan Newton.
Well, they had 2 top prospects out of high school, Malakowski and Morgan. They were both 4-star recruits, both pretty big recruits. We've missed on every big quarterback besides Tim Couch we've ever got.
We had Tim Couch and we had Jared Lorenzen.
We've had guys like some high-rated guys, Morgan Newton, Malakowski, Matt Jones that played in New England and Alabama. He was committed to us for 2 years. Alabama missed on their 2 targets, they're 5-star guys, because he was a 3-star guy. And they swept in and got him in the 11th hour. I don't blame the kid for going to Alabama over us, but he was committed to us for 2 years. Patrick Toes was a big recruit, a high 4-star. So was Drew Barker. Both those guys were supposed to be big prospects.
Misses.
Dude, they just not just misses.
We had Andre Woodson.
Yep. And
Jared Lorenzen and Tim Couch.
But we have
had a lot. I think they just hype them up so damn much.
Well, they were big recruits. You know, we just
bums.
Yeah, it sucks. So, and then I felt like for a while Louisville was hitting on every quarterback they got for like 7 straight years. They had either Teddy Bridgewater or Lamar. And Teddy came from the Miami deal when that fell apart. They were riding in all the luck, and I felt like we couldn't grab a break if we needed it. But that finally changed, and, you know, things turned around.
They got lucky.
Yeah,
they got lucky with a couple good.
Dude, 6 straight years having Teddy or Lamar. Oof. I mean, them are both 2 good NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah, they are. All right, 2 quick notes before we get to college basketball. One, the boxing match this past weekend, Tank Davis. He's a Baltimore boy, actually, undefeated. He fought Lamont Roach, and it was a draw.
Okay.
And there was a little controversy. Tank Davis took a knee after taking a shot. I think it was the 9th round. Took a knee. It was weird. You have to go back and watch it, Anthony. He takes a knee after taking a shot, not a big shot, not like a knockout shot, not even a really big shot at all, but he did kind of back up, took a knee, immediately got up off the knee. He didn't stay on the knee. He was down for maybe 1 full second, came back up. The referee started counting 1, 2, and as he's counting, Tank scurries over to his corner, and the referee's looking at him like, what are you doing? And then he sticks his head through the ropes, and his corner wipes his face off, which is illegal. You cannot do that in the middle of a round. Then he comes back in real quick, and the referee didn't even call it a knockdown.
Didn't know what to do.
And it ended in a draw, and almost certainly Tank Davis loses that fight if that's called a knockdown. It was weird because it wasn't like a situation where he was hurt. I don't even think he was hurt. What he said was he had some kind of grease in his hair and it got in his eye, which is not an excuse because the rules state that your corner cannot assist you unless a timeout is called by the referee. So, little bit of controversy, but
Sure.
boxing's good for some controversy.
No, it is.
Great fight, though, and they're talking about a rematch by late May. That's a quick turnaround.
No, it is. I think the reason there's so much questions in boxing, I actually heard Dana White talk about this the other day, or maybe it was Joe Rogan.
Now, they are investigating it, though.
Their biggest gripe was, it might have been Joe Rogan, but they said, what's the worst thing about UFC? And he said the refereeing. He says the refereeing is so shady at times and, people's been investigated. But you think about it, what happens in these boxing matches is they'll have a match, but then they'll have a second match set up with somebody else that's going to pay like hundreds of millions of dollars. So they need that person to win.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of money involved, and they have access to the judges. They need to fix that. They need to.
I've said this for years. I've always been a huge boxing fan. Of course, the boxing has changed a lot, and it's not as big as UFC. Let's just be honest. UFC has crushed boxing.
You say that, Charlie.
No, that's exactly what happened.
But why do the boxers make so much more money?
Because they only do it because they have really good promoters.
Okay, because they're killing them in money, killing them bad in money. I mean, a good UFC guy might make $2 million for a fight. A good boxer might make $50 million for the fight.
Yeah, but it's the promotions, the promoters that are doing.
Okay, because I've wondered that. Like, because I've heard what you said that UFC's bigger, but I'm like, there's still all kinds of money in boxing comparatively. And I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong because I've kind of heard that. But
I'm not sure that UFC guys get paid as much as they should. That's a whole nother argument. I'm just saying UFC over the last 15 years they have crushed boxing.
Is it because the UFC owns it and they're not getting their own contracts on these fights? UFC's the only show in town.
It's because the product's better.
Yeah. Yeah. It depends who you are. I like boxing, but yeah, I don't mind UFC, but I like boxing.
I like boxing way better than UFC. I'm not even a big UFC fan.
I'll
watch it like on big fights, but I'm not dumb enough to think that if we sit here and watch it, let's say we watch 3 UFC fights tonight and 3 boxing matches, I guarantee you the 3 UFC matches will be more entertaining.
Sure. Boy, it's because one punch can change the match. I've watched several UFC fights where somebody was getting beat pretty bad.
It's a better product. And I don't even like it. I like boxing way better. I love boxing.
Well, I think it's the excitement of it. Look, I'll say this about boxing. I do think they have the most disciplined fighters in it. Like, it's the most strategic fighting. I've seen so many UFC fights where a guy could be getting beat pretty bad, and one punch wins it for the and I've seen that in boxing too, but you see a lot in UFC, a guy gets him in a chokehold or the guy just messes up for a second. And that's what makes it exciting. And I do think it's an exciting thing to watch. But for boxing is more of a strategic deal, stay into the game plan, and then you don't got the chokeholds and stuff like that, and so much of the big punches to take them out, I guess, that changes the game. But it's definitely exciting. I agree with that. I'm a boxing guy. I enjoy boxing more, but I see the argument. I definitely see that.
Back to what I was saying, though. I've been saying this for years. You can fix the problem of the judges very simply, and this is how you do it. If you're one of the 3 judges, you have to show your score of the round after the round.
I agree. I've heard that several places.
After the round, show your score.
I agree with that.
Show it to the crowd, show it to the camera, show it to the fighters, the corner, Everybody in the whole place knows what the score is. And we know if you're full of shit and you put up some bullshit number, we know what we just watched.
It might make boxing more exciting because if a boxer knows he's behind, he'll start pressing.
That's just what they should do. It's bullshit the way they.
So you think a boxer should know if he's behind at that point? I'm not against it. Yeah, I like it. And I tell you what, it'll make, say you know you're behind. You look up, you know you're behind. The only way you can win is a knockout. Yeah, I like it. I do like it.
And to me, I kind of like that aspect, but to me, it's more about the audience knowing.
Yeah.
Because the audience can call you out real quick.
Well,
Of course, the fighters in the corner could call you out real quick too. But look, if we know that what we just saw was this fighter A won, and they throw up fighter B won 2 out of the 3 judges, then we kind of know what's going on as it's happening. At the end, we just throw up the score, and I just don't like it. I've never liked it. And maybe one day we'll get a chance to, we got some boxing buddies. Maybe one day we'll get a chance to ask them what they think about that.
Yeah.
Because I've always said that, man, and I stick by it. Show the score.
I like it.
After the round.
I like
You got about 10 seconds to make your decision.
Yeah.
And I like the fighters in the corner getting to see it too. Why not?
Yeah, at least you know if you're behind. I like every bit of it. I think the problem is, though, and why it won't change, and I hope it does, but these promoters, the ones that are making these fights happen and making all this money as part of, they need that next fight. They almost build a brand with certain people. I've always been I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but I think Mike Tyson was a little overhyped. He was in that era that when marketing got real big and they were building a brand, I thought Ronda Rousey got a little bit overhyped with what they did. They built a moneymaker, and they don't want to lose their moneymaker. That's the guy that's going to give them the next $75 million fight, the next $100 million fight. And I think those promoters, from what I've heard, I think it was Joe Rogan that said it, they get to the judges.
Boxing's probably the dirtiest sport of all.
Yep. He acts like he acts like
behind horse race.
He acts like UFC's right there with him. I don't watch enough UFC, so I can't say it, but because him and Billy Walters were talking about, Billy Walters was asking him, well, I've never really bet on UFC. What's the angles? And he was telling him about like the different fighting styles and stuff. He said, but the dirtiest part of the game is and this is a guy that's involved with it. He was a announcer and, kind of a small partner, I think, in it. And he just said it, the judging. So
I'm sure it happens in UFC the same way, but I haven't heard of it nearly as much as there's been a lot of shady shit going on in boxing over the years.
I agree. I agree 100%.
So maybe we'll see a rematch of Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. I like the Roach kid. I think he's only got like 1 loss, and Tank Davis is undefeated.
Anybody with the last name of Roach probably could fight.
And Roach is from Washington, D.C., and Tank's from Baltimore. So
Tank,
it's a little beltway rivalry.
When I think of Tank, I think of that guy was that kind of like backyard fighter. What was that, Tank Abbott? He was like a UFC, but like he was an old school guy, big.
Yeah, I think that was his name.
Tank Abbott. He was good. He was good.
All right, my only other note.
Do you want us? We could start a fight club, maybe in your backyard.
I'm with it.
You ever seen backyard fights on YouTube? Kimbo Slice was the king of
when
dude. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy.
Stuff first started, man. I used to watch that stuff all the time.
Dude, so they got this train wreck. They got, I've told you about it. If y'all have never seen it, this ain't good fight. Okay, I'm not saying it is, but it's white trash. But it is a train wreck, and I'm a sucker for a train wreck. It's called Redneck Brawl. If you don't watch it for the fights, watch it for the promos leading up to the fights.
I feel like there's a bunch of people doing that now.
There is.
Barstool does one every month or two.
I feel like that Redneck Brawl really was the first one to kind of get big. I feel like others have followed suit because they see the success they're having. It's white trash, dude. But I could easily see where it's successful. It's the promos are where it is. I'll call you out, Charlie. I live in Kentucky, and I'll call you out.
West Virginia.
Yeah. I'm just white trash, dude. Running their mouths on the promos, dog. Charlie, you get your fucking ass down here.
The girls and everything.
Oh, they're trash.
They
are trash.
All right, my only other note here before college basketball, Alex Ovechkin. 884 total goals. He is 10 goals short of Wayne Gretzky's all-time record. A lot of people thought that record might never get beat, but he is 10 away.
10 away.
It looks like he's probably going to get it. Ovechkin is on his way to fighting for that GOAT title.
Yeah.
He is. He's fighting for the record in goals. He already holds 2 or 3 other major records too.
Is it because he's played so long, or is it like his average is pretty good?
He's played 20 years, so he's been around a while. But no, he's one of the top players.
Okay.
He's definitely top 5 of all time.
I know some people get like records because they just hang around forever.
No.
Yeah, no, it's not him. Okay.
He's been one of the best players for 20 years. He actually has 135 game-winning goals, too.
Wow.
Tied with Jágr
That's a Russian.
for first all-time. Jágr's still playing. He's like 40. Look up how old Jaromir Jágr is. He's almost 50.
Yeah. No.
And he's still playing. But they're tied for first all-time, 135 game-winning goals. That's a lot of game-winning goals.
It is. Shout out to him.
So Alexander Ovechkin, I'm cheering for you, big dog. 10 more. He's going to get it. They said he missed like 16 games. He broke a bone in his leg or something. He missed about 16 games in November and December. But he's still got like 31 goals on the year. So he's probably going to get it this year. The Capitals are the number 1 seed in the East right now. So they're going to be playing in the playoffs. He's probably going to get it this year.
Was the Gretzky an American or a Canadian?
He was from Canada.
Okay. I was going to say I didn't want him to passing because he was American.
No, Gretzky's. You didn't watch and I missed it at the beginning anyways because we were at baseball practice. But when they had the four nations thing last week,
right,
the championship game.
Yep.
Remember how in the game before they fought 3 times to start the game?
Yeah.
Well, in the championship game, I guess to save face, the Canadians brought Wayne Gretzky out during the national anthem.
Right.
And the American, it was almost like the American fans didn't want to. They didn't want to boo him because, it was like a good play by Canada. They brought him out, and it was like half the crowd wanted to boo, but then they didn't boo because Gretzky came out.
Good deal. No, good deal. It's cool. On a side note, here's one last thing that I want to mention. I read it a little bit before I got here, so I've done a lot of research on it, but I thought it was interesting. There is an article wrote that all these Big Ten schools are going in huge deficits to try to keep up with and compete with the SEC, which they're doing. Last year, Ohio State, just in 1 year, ran a $38 million deficit. Michigan State, a $16 million deficit. Rutgers, a $70 million deficit. And UCLA, a $30 million deficit. And there's others, but them are just some of the key ones. But that's a 1 year deficit for those teams trying to keep up with what they say is trying to keep up with the SEC. So I'm going to read more to
Rutgers doing.
They're spending some money and not winning.
Blowing money?
Yeah, I guess.
Who's in charge of their money?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Doge and your boy Elon need to go investigate Rutgers because that is way too much money for them to be spending.
It is. For not winning.
Lord, no, they're terrible.
If I'm spending that much money, I better be winning. So
it's like BYU, man. Rutgers and BYU are doing it, ain't they?
Yeah.
Shit, who's giving Rutgers money? Who is the... We got to
they're on a deficit, so they're behind.
Yeah, we got to look up the alumni that they got.
There must be all kinds of
dishing out.
If you're running a $70 million deficit for the year and your people are still letting you write checks, I don't even understand it all. So I'd have to look into it.
Country does it.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother.
Yeah, but that's a lot of different factors. This is paying kids that can play for you, and you're still not no good.
All right, college basketball.
Yep.
Like we said, Kentucky got just throttled, man. They did. Look, it was never really close after the 2 banked-in threes in the first half.
Right.
2 banked-in threes, Anthony, on back-to-back possessions by the same player. I have to know if this has ever happened before.
Tough. I don't think you ever aim for a bank shot on a 3. Would you agree with that?
There's 2 bad shots that accidentally went.
Do you ever aim for a bank shot on 3, a college player, Division I player?
Yeah, back in 1940, man.
Yeah, but in today's game, no way. No,
you might bank in a 15-footer, but you ain't banking in a 3-point shot on purpose.
No way.
There is in the first half of a game, no way. Maybe you're up 40 and you're messing around at the end of the game. Maybe.
The only way I'm banking a shot in anyways, if I got that perfect angle on the side.
The
The
score was like 12-7 when it happened,
Yep.
dude. No, he didn't do it on purpose. But seriously, do you think it's ever happened? The same player, back-to-back possessions,
I'm gonna say
banked in 3-point shots.
I'll say it's happened, but I bet you it's stupid rare.
It's almost hard these days to think about stuff that's never happened because it seems like everything's happened.
It might not have, though. It might not have.
But that seems like something that I've never seen.
Are you gonna bet that it hasn't happened? I'm gonna say it has happened, but maybe once or twice more. But you're saying maybe you don't think it has?
By the same guy?
I'm not saying you're. I'm not. I don't have an really. I'm just kind of going opposite. But
it would be super rare that it's happened just in back-to-back possessions.
It's stupid rare.
By anybody.
Oh, it's stupid rare. Whatever it is, it's stupid rare.
I think it'd be stupid rare even if it was just 2 back-to-back possessions. But same guy, back-to-back, and let's just add, it was the opposite sides of the court, too. It was the first one was from the left wing, then it was from the right wing. This motherfucker, dude. and it was early, too. It was like you said, we were down by like 5 when that happened, or 6 or 7 when that happened, and then we were down by like 13 or 14, and just like that off 2 bank shots.
Right now,
it just felt like a freaking just got stabbed in the side, dude. Like
right now, Auburn's running on all cylinders. They seem like almost a team of destiny right now.
They're the best team in the country. They are. I said it to start the show. I'll say it again. I think it's a wide margin. Duke is good. I know they're good.
I think they're the only team that could be as good as them, and I'm not sure if they are or they aren't.
I like Houston.
But Houston's good, but
Houston.
I don't think they're as good as Auburn. I think you can make an argument with Duke.
They're probably as good as Duke.
Okay.
Duke has not played anybody.
Charlie, I'm with you. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Prove it.
I just like with the margins they're winning at, I think you can make an argument. Not that I agree with it or don't agree with it, but I think you can make, okay, but we won't know until they play. Duke could be as good as Auburn. They might not be. But I don't think Houston is as good as Auburn. And Houston might be better than Duke. But it's just, I don't think watching Houston, I think I've seen them enough against decent competition. I don't think they're as good as Auburn.
Duke's not as good as Auburn.
Duke's a wild card to me because I have seen them roll people, but they haven't played nobody. Duke's a hard read for me, I'll be honest.
Duke's played like 17 games since January 1st. They've played like nine of those 17.
I agree.
9 of those 17 losing records.
I agree. But they're rolling them.
You know how many? 2 of them, Clemson and Wake Forest, got 20 wins.
They got Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag.
9 out of 17 teams they played in 2025 have a losing record.
Cooper Flag.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Cooper Flag.
And I know they're good, but
Larry Bird.
That schedule, dude, is not. It ain't gonna help him.
You haven't seen Cooper Flag play, man.
Whatever. Duke's not winning it at all. I'm calling it right now. Duke's not winning.
Cooper Flag might take him to the promised land.
I like Houston better than Duke.
I'm messing with you, Charlie. It's
Flag's good.
Auburn is really good.
Auburn's the best team in the country. So the loss, it is what it is. I know me and Anthony both picked Kentucky to beat Auburn, but
I always pick Kentucky.
And most people didn't expect Kentucky to win that game. So, and it didn't knock us down too much on any kind of standings or rankings. Now, I do think it makes this game tomorrow night against LSU a little bit more important because there is a chance that if we were to drop LSU and at Missouri, we could probably end up as maybe a 9 seed and having to play on Wednesday and not get that bye. So,
I'm not
very important to get in that top. We need to avoid playing on Wednesday.
I agree.
We just do. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's almost impossible.
It's been done.
I'd like to see how many teams won the SEC tournament that had to play on Wednesday.
That Georgia team did it. Remember we talked about that tornado?
They did, but I bet you it hadn't happened very often.
Nope.
We need to get the bye. So I think the LSU game is important, but LSU's not very good, so we should win that game. Hopefully we can win out, slip back on maybe the three line for the NCAA tournament. But to me, I'm more worried about trying to get that top 8 seed in the SEC and not have to play on Wednesday.
I got you.
So tomorrow at LSU, or is that at? No, that's at home. It's at home, right? Because we're at Missouri. So, yeah, LSU at Kentucky tomorrow. Without Jaxon Robinson for the rest of the year, that does suck. He averaged just about 4 threes for us when he was playing. So it is a big loss for Kentucky. I think it really kind of hurts our chances of making a deep run. But I'm not giving up completely because this team has already played with injuries all year, and we've beaten good teams while some of these guys have been out. So
I think we can win without him. I think Butler's the one we couldn't win without.
yeah, but look, Butler played like shit against us.
Oh, he did, but he's been a good player for us. We just got to get him back rolling and get him back locked in. So.
Yeah, he needs to get it going because he did not play. I don't know how many minutes he played
playing hurt
today, but he had. Oh, I'm sure he's playing hurt. He got that huge brace on his shoulder.
Yeah,
but 0 assists, and I'm sure he played at least 25 minutes. 0 assists, and he probably missed 5 layups.
I just hope that if things were to go bad, the UK fans, they give Pope time. And not that I don't think you get much time in today's college basketball world because of NIL and you're buying ready-made teams. But I do think Pope gets this year because he came in late. I know they spent money on this team, and so I ain't gonna give him a true pass. But he got here late. He had to throw his team together. So whatever happens, whether it's good or bad, keep a positive vibe. The negative shit, it ain't going to do nothing for nobody, dude.
I'm glad you said that because it was about 15 minutes after the game, after we got beat by the number 1 team in the country, best team in the country. They've got 2 losses on the year. They got 1 loss in the best conference in the history of college basketball. And 10 minutes after we lose, I get a text that says, how long will Pope be at Kentucky?
Stupid.
And you want to know what my response was? A long time. That's what I said. What's your guess? How long?
I've thought about this.
Seriously, how long do you think Pope will be at Kentucky?
Okay, I'm going to say it 2 different ways. I'm going to tell you what I think and how it should go down. He gets a pass this year. Now, I will say this. At first, I didn't think he got a pass because I thought in today's college basketball world, you're buying your team. I know. Let me explain myself because I'm kind of in the middle about it. But we spent, double on this team is the team we did last year. We spent money for this team. I've said it all year. People want to say these kids playing for the name on the front of their jersey. No, they're not. I mean, they are, but they're not. Maybe Perry and what's his name, but they're hired hands. And if they get a better contract next year, they're going to leave. I just don't like to say that the kids like in the yesteryears is the only one cared about money. These kids are here because of money, which is fine, and they're part of it. That's just what the game is now. But he had to put this team together the last second. He spent money, but it was put together the last second, so he gets a pass in my eyes. In years past, I say a coach gets 3.5 years. Let him get all of his own kids in here. But I say in the NIL world, you get 1 or 2 full seasons to put your team together because you're buying ready-made teams now, and especially if you have a decent budget like we do with basketball. So he gets 1 more year from that standpoint, just as a pass. Now, how he gets judged after that will come down to if he wins or he don't. But for me, I see a winner in Pope. That they got, as long as he can keep NIL money and, he'll have a full season to kind of pick out who he wants and who he don't want. I would like to see his defense get a little better, him to focus on his defensive part of his game. I know he can coach offense, but I'll predict that he's going to be here for years to come. But as far as being judged, I don't think he gets judged this year. I don't think any logical person could.
Well, they already are.
Yeah, that's how
they're not. Those people aren't logical.
Yeah, I don't think you get much time in the NIL world, but I do think he gets this year.
Look, barring a major collapse the rest of this year and a major bad year next year, Mitch Barnhart is not firing Mark Pope within 2 years. I think Mitch Barnhart would even probably give him 3 to 4 years. Unless it was some Kenny Payne results.
I think in today's world,
if
the NIL change,
we had some good wins this year in the first year with all the things going against them that you said.
Kyle was able to take us from the shit house to the penthouse overnight. I know. I'm with you.
That was different. Cal was in the middle of
I agree.
literally being the best recruiter in the history
I agree.
of the sport.
Fair. That's fair. It's fair.
So that was what he was doing was just crazy.
Yeah.
But look, if we lose in the first round, let's say we lose in the first round of the tournament this year. Let's say we get a 4 seed. Let's say we get a 4 seed and we slip up and we lose in the first round. Dude, Mitch is not even thinking about.
Oh, this year, no.
But and I think even next year, if you had say another first or second round exit,
I do think
Mitch ain't going to give up on him.
No, Mitch won't because
if it was Kenny Payne next year, if we drop out in the first round this year and miss the tournament next year, I still don't think he would fire him, but I think that third year would be like the seat's as hot as it gets.
I don't think Mitch.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Mitch don't make quick decisions.
No, absolutely not. Dude, he's going to give Pope 3 years at least.
He will. Now, I will say, if I was an athletic director, I do think it's different in the NIL era. I've thought about this. I've actually put a lot of thought into it. With the way you buy your teams, it benefits a guy that don't like recruiting or wasn't very good at it, because now you can essentially put your teams together if you have the NIL budget. If he has a top NIL budget, I expect a good year next year. But I'm with you. I don't think I'd make a quick decision on it. I wouldn't really say nothing after 3 years, but I do think there's some people that would, and I think they might have a fair argument, but it would have to be a bad year next year. Wouldn't have to be a mediocre year. It'd be bad. But if he had a mediocre year, then I do think the seat gets hot, because in the world of NIL, you're buying your teams.
Well, guess what he's going to have this year?
What's that?
He's going to have a whole summer to recruit.
Money recruits.
Do everything. Yeah, but he's still recruit. I'm sure he's still out there doing whatever it is that the recruiting is these days. He's still doing it. So he's going to have a whole summer as opposed to 1 month.
I agree with that.
And next year, guess what? We'll be better.
I would like to see how much.
He'll be a better coach,
yep.
And we'll continue to get better. And I don't think I think if Mark Pope had like 2 or 3 crazy bad years, I think he's the type of dude that would damn near say, look, I ain't getting it done. But I don't think Mitch Barnhart is quick to fire anybody, and especially not a Kentucky guy, unless he ends up like Kenny Payne. He's going to be here for a handful of years, and I think he's going to be here for 10-plus years.
Dude,
he's going to be successful. You cannot judge this guy off.
No, I don't either.
Before this year, Anthony, after we found out we was getting Pope, but before the game started, if we said, we'll beat Duke, we'll beat Gonzaga, we'll beat a 3rd-ranked Florida and a 4th-ranked Tennessee twice,
yeah.
What do you think all our fans would say?
Dude,
we beat Louisville.
They love it.
They would take it,
Look,
right?
There's some of the things I don't like about our fans, about how they act just because somebody's from Kentucky, or, so I think some of our fans can be redneck, inbred dumbasses, okay? But then I think we have some great fans too. But there's a big part of the fan base. My one knock on Pope's this. I think he kisses the fan base's ass too much, and he's too nice. Fucking fire back. There's times that Pitino used to fire back. I'll give Pitino credit for this. That's the fan base.
He's fresh, dude.
I know, but I feel like he's trying to cater to the fan. I get it.
He's like in his dream job.
I know, but
give him a few years.
Stand up, them motherfuckers, dude.
Nah, there's no reason to clap back at the fans, dude. That's what.
I'm not saying clap back, but you gotta hold your ground, dude. He goes in ass kiss mode bad. He goes in ass.
He should. Right.
He goes in ass and bullshit.
As he should.
Be you. I mean, it don't mean, dude. There's times I feel like he's. Look, I love him. But there's times he goes over the top to try to appease the fans. Like
they say, that's the type of dude he is. He's like
he's a goober. He's a goober. I agree.
I agree with that's how he is. I don't think he's putting on a show, but I do think he's overdoing it.
I think he's feeding into
because he is literally if he had a dream of the best job for him of his life, he's in it.
But that don't mean you gotta. I don't know. To me, you want to be strong and like. Hey, guys, I'm working hard.
He is.
Oh, I'm sure.
Point.
And I'm not judging his coaching style because, it's worked for him. But I feel like sometimes he's kind of a nice guy, even like talking about a fit. Get mad.
A little controversy 2 games ago.
I like it then.
The damn referee.
Call him out,
the
dude.
referee blew the whistle. They were about to inbound a ball or something.
Right.
So the play wasn't happening, but it was about to start. Pope was staring him down. The referee was like at one side of the bench, and Pope walked down into the corner of the court, down at the end of the bench, but he was staring at the ref like he was staring at him.
Yeah.
And the referee blew the whistle, stomped down, face to face with Pope, just stared at him, and then turned around and walked away.
Yeah,
I think the SEC was even investigating the referee or looking at what happened with the referee.
See, I would like for him to even like, and I'm not saying he's got to do this, but
the referee went out of his way to like
go post game, get petty. Go post game, say you're gonna send the video in, get you a fine, do a little white trash stuff. I don't know. Give me a little bit. Give me a little bit.
Cuss.
I know he don't, but like you don't have to cuss. I don't know. I'm reading too much into it. I don't want to go down that because I start thinking
he's just a nice guy and he is living his dream right now. So he's on cloud 9 is what he is, and he is kissing everybody's ass. I think that'll change over time, just because he'll get comfortable, and I don't think Pope's going.
I know. I just don't want my coach to. I've said it about Stoops. I've said it when he started, what's his name, in the U of L game. I thought that was fan pressure. What's the quarterback's name? But anyhow, the young freshman quarterback this year. Started him in the U of L game. It was cold and windy after he threw a couple good passes. It wasn't the right game to start him. Let the kid ease into it. We got a good one here, I think. I feel like he caved to fan pressure right there. I can't believe I can't think of it. He's the boy from here in Kentucky.
I know who you're talking about. I just can't think of it.
Yeah, I can't. I went
Gunner?
No, I went blank.
No?
No, he's really good. He was a big recruit. He's our future right now.
Yeah, he played those last couple games.
They started against U of L, and I felt like Stoops caved to the pressure. And I feel like he's caved to the pressure a few too many times, almost like he's reading the internet. I appreciate Stoops wanting to be with the fans, and I don't think that's what Stoops is about. I think if Stoops had to do it over tomorrow, I think he's trying to change and get back to who he was. Look, we can all lose ourselves sometimes in what we're trying to be, and you're trying to do all the things right. I don't have no problem with that part of it, and wanting to do it right. But catch yourself. And I think he is. I honestly think Stoops is. I think he's realized, man, I don't like the things I've done, the person I've become, in a sense, to giving in. I'm going to go back to being hard-nosed, creating culture, and doing the things the way that a football coach should do them, in my opinion. I could see how it's easy to get tied up in that, but I think you got to fight that urge.
So how long's Pope going to be at Kentucky?
How long will he be there? He'll be there for a long time. I think he has success.
So too.
I think he has success. How long before he gets judged? I'd say 2 to 3 years.
So no, it's already happening.
That's our idea of fame.
Expect 40-0. Give the guy some slack. We got some good wins this year. We're having a decent year. We've battled some injuries, and we're going to make a run. What do you think about our chances of making a run without Robinson?
I think they're decent.
We're still going to make a run.
I think they're decent. I do. I really do.
A second-round game kind of worries me as a 4 seed. You'd be looking at, like a 5 seed in the second round, which that game could go either way. So
I say we got a 40% chance of making a nice little run. I'm not saying championship. I say we got 35, 40% chance Elite 8, Final 4. 35% chance at Elite 8, Final 4.
I feel like most of the fan base would say they'd be happy if we get to that second round.
Okay.
And I'd probably say the same thing. Why? I guess the second round, probably because we haven't been there in so long.
Yeah.
Missing Robinson for the rest of the year is going to hurt us on making a deep run. But look, this team's shown that we can beat any of the top teams, maybe except Auburn. And we're not going to get matched up with Auburn in the tournament. We wouldn't get matched up with them probably until a Final Four or something.
I think we're fine. I mean, I like Robinson a lot. That's just one injury. We're a pretty deep team. We got Butler back, so I think we're gonna be all right.
He ain't very deep. Robinson was pretty
at the guard. At the guard, I feel like we got some other spots. Oh, we got some players. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not when Garrison plays like shit.
You got to be able to lose one player and still be good. Oh, I think you do. Yeah, I think we are.
Yeah, we've lost 2 though.
Yeah,
we don't think about Creasa, but Creasa was the backup point guard.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you're missing your backup point guard and you're starting shooting guard.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people kind of forget about Creasa, but it was easy to forget about him when Butler was healthy and Robinson was healthy. Yeah. But then once those 2 got hurt, now you're thinking, shit, where's Creasa? And They have not officially said if he's done for the year, but I'm pretty sure he's done for the year. I don't see how he would come back, but I still like our chances at least a little bit of a run. The good thing about Kentucky is we've shown that we can beat good teams. So
No doubt.
I'm not scared of anybody, but we are one of them teams that probably can get beat by just about anybody too. So
I'll be honest with you. I do want us to end the year trending up, because I would be. Listen, I wouldn't judge him on it, but I would be disappointed to have the success we've had early and really fade out into the year. That would disappoint me a little bit. Not that I wouldn't be nowhere near ready to quit on him or even really judging him yet, but it wouldn't feel good.
no, I agree. Because, man, I'm looking forward to March, dude, and this has happened the last few years. It flames out real quick, and it's pretty disappointing when we can't even cheer into that second weekend, man. I guess that's really what it is. It's like a mindset of just getting through that first weekend.
Yep.
We please get through. That's what it is. It was St. Peter's in the first round. It was Kansas State in the second round. And then it was Oakland in the first. We've got to get 2 wins. Please just get 2 wins. I want 6. But realistically, let's get a couple. And like you said,
I like to get to Elite Eight.
I love it.
I think we're capable. I think we're capable of Elite Eight. I do. I think
we're capable of anything.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that
we beat a lot. We haven't just beat 1 or 2 good teams. We beat like 7 or 8 really good teams.
I'll be honest with you.
5 of the top teams in the country.
I'm okay with Sweet 16. I like it the Final 8. I like the Final 8 for me. That's where I'd like to get. That's where I
hey boy, that's
think
a dagger though, because you're looking at we win this and we get to the Final 4. And
we're gonna keep trying to win at that point. Yeah,
but I hate losing to that Elite 8.
Oh, it's the worst.
I hate losing when you're playing to cut down them nets in the region and go to the Final 4 and you lose that one, man. I hate that one. I don't like any of them. But there's something about that Elite 8 loss, dude.
I'm with you 100%.
Because you're right there, getting to that next weekend, getting to that big stage of the Final 4, man, and I can't stand it. But, yeah, I'd much rather get to the Elite 8 and lose in the Elite 8 than losing the Sweet 16. So let's just make a run. We need to finish strong. We have to get this win tomorrow. Speaking of that, let's guess the spread real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
LSU at Kentucky. LSU's not good.
I'll say Kentucky 8.
Already out.
Kentucky 8.
Out.
Kentucky 8. Kentucky 9. You gonna say bigger? I'll see if I can look it up real quick.
It's probably already out. I'll say. Would you say 8?
Yep.
I'll say 7.
12.5.
Holy shit! One thing is already proven in just 2 weeks that I'm not good at picking basketball spreads.
I'm not. Look, I'm watching it. I'm keeping up.
They're a lot tough.
But I'm not locked in like I am football. Dude.
No.
Football, I feel like I could have worked for Vegas this year. I was so locked into the data, watching. I became addicted to it. And I'm trying to get there with college basketball. I'm working on it.
So what'd you say it was? 12 and
12.5.
12.5. Man, that's a lot. But you know what? After the ass whooping that we just took, and then Auburn's players acting a fool after the game,
they got embarrassed.
At home, senior night, got to have it.
Yep, I agree.
Kentucky covers.
I agree.
Kentucky covers.
I like it.
Tomorrow, Auburn at Texas A&M. That's a big-time game. Auburn still ranked first. Texas A&M is, I don't know, top 10, I guess. Auburn at Texas A&M.
Auburn minus 6.
Auburn minus 6.
What are you going to say? I'll look it up.
8.
Auburn's minus 5.5.
You almost hit that one.
I'm taking Auburn.
Yep.
I mean, I like A&M too, dude. A&M will probably play them tough, but I'm not betting against Auburn right now. I'm not betting against Duke right now either.
There's another rank. BYU at Iowa State. I haven't seen BYU this year.
They put up pretty good numbers.
Iowa State's at home.
I'm going to say.
They just bounced back the other day and got a win. Pretty sure on Saturday they beat somebody.
BYU's at Iowa State, Arizona State.
Yeah, they beat Arizona.
I'm going to say Iowa State is
Arizona. They beat Arizona by 17.
I'm going to say Iowa State is
minus
8.
4.
Oh, 4.
I don't know. I was trying to go first that time because you've been going and I've been way off. So I was just trying to.
Is that what have you looked it up?
No,
I'm going to say Iowa State minus 8.
I have no clue.
Let's look it up. It is okay. Here we are. 8.5.
Iowa State minus 8.5. BYU is ranked.
I'm going to take BYU in the points.
BYU they're ranked something. I don't know, 20th or something.
They're low 20s.
8.5, that's a lot. I'll be different. I'll take it. I'll take Iowa State.
Iowa State. All
I'll
right.
take Iowa State. That was all I had for tomorrow. Do
Wednesday,
you have anything?
yeah.
For
Wednesday, I had wrote down Florida will travel to Alabama 5 versus 7. Florida
at Alabama.
I'm going to say Alabama is -1.5.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, this has got to be a close game, dude.
Yeah.
Florida is fucking good.
They're good. I'm going to
But
take
you know what, man? I'm gonna say Bama minus.
Bama outplayed Tennessee, and
I'm gonna say
I did.
-4.
I did have Alabama bet that I lost a little bit this week. Alabama was one of my winners, so I'm gonna roll back with them this week. Alabama.
I'm gonna take Florida on the upset.
All right. I don't think it'd be much of upset. What's your prediction on line?
I said 4.
I'm gonna say 1.5 for
Yeah,
2.
I bumped it. I said 2 first, but I'm gonna bump it
Up to 4.
Bump it up
Okay.
to 4. Just because fucking Bama scores, dude. They score 90 points every game.
It's
I know Florida can score too, but man,
You're
Bama.
probably right. You're
Goodness
probably right.
gracious.
You're probably right. Maryland is traveling.
Yes, let's go. This tomorrow? No, this Wednesday.
They are traveling to Ann Arbor.
Big game.
I'm going to say that Michigan will be -2 or 3, and I am going to take Michigan.
So this is a big game. This is one of the only major conferences that still are up for grabs. Michigan is in second, 1 game back of Michigan State, and they play each other on Sunday. So Michigan has Maryland and Michigan State. If they win both of them, they're probably going to win the Big 12. I guess it'll come down to some tiebreakers, but I would think they probably got the head. Well, I'm sure they probably play each other twice. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Those two teams
Yep.
probably play each other, Michigan State twice.
Yep.
So, but this is a big game for Michigan. I think if Michigan loses this, they don't have a chance. Well, yeah, they do because Michigan State still has another game, but they play Iowa. Iowa's not very good. So, still a big game for Michigan. They're at home. But I'm going to take Maryland.
The Terps.
I do think Michigan will probably be minus probably 3 or 4, but I'm going to take the Terps I'm going to take the Terps. They got a win. They bounce back after the buzzer beater. They bounce back with a tough win. They played Penn State, but they actually historically have trouble winning at Penn State. So they got that win, and I think they're going to go to Michigan and get that win too. I still like Maryland as a sleeper.
Is Steve Francis, has he got any eligibility left?
I wish he did. I caught a little bit of flack for hesitating on the names of trying to come up with Lonnie Baxter and Chris Wilcox.
Dude, I was on the Wilcox thing, and I'm not even a Maryland guy. I said Wilcox, and that's what it was. Yeah, I was on it.
I had a couple people tell me I was screaming at you, Lonnie Baxter, Wilcox.
I
Honestly, I can't believe you couldn't remember. I'm like, dude, I
watched a lot of college basketball. Then I do not remember Lonnie Baxter. I still don't know that name.
Yeah, I remember.
I still do not know that name. But you were, tied in with Maryland and stuff. So
we didn't mention was Juan Dixon.
yeah, Juan, he was
Dixon
good.
Was the other guard that they had.
good.
He was real good.
I used to
Dixon
love.
was a killer.
I used to love Wilcox. So he was like a fucking athlete, dude. He was like a bull in there, dude.
Wilcox is, how he reminds me of kind of is Montrez.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Montrez Harrell.
He's better than
Played for-
Montrez. And Montrez was really good.
Same kind of player.
Yeah, yes.
Just wants to dunk on your face.
They don't make those kind no more.
And that's all he wants to do. Just
Look,
dunk on your
They don't make those. Is there any players out there in college basketball like that anymore?
They're hard to come by.
Dude,
I Googled Chris Wilcox, and every picture on Google is him smashing just dunking as hard as he possibly
so I'll touch on this just because it talks about basketball. So we played a team tonight. My son's little basketball league he's in. This team that he plays, they got one of the better players in the league. He's really long, really athletic. They're middle school kids. He's a lot more longer and athletic than the other kids. And he's a good kid, good player. But I knew playing him, he's going to have to keep his boy from the basket. He's so long and athletic, he can anything close. It's an easy point. So I just, I coached Rex through keeping him from the basket, kind of pushing him out. Not when I say pushing, I mean physically pushing, but working him out, blocking him out, just really giving him an old school type game, kind of little body to him. Nothing dirty. Charlie, I already told you about it. They got tore up over it. Does people not teach any kind of contact? Like they thought, oh, you're pushing him. I mean, it wasn't nothing dirty at all. Just a little blocking out, a little body. Does the game of basketball, do they just not like any contact no more?
They don't teach them to block out.
They don't like they free movement.
Over the backs. They don't call reach-ins. The game has changed a lot.
It has.
It has.
Wilcox, he probably get fouled out today's game. Yeah.
He was a super physical, athletic guy.
How many times when you were playing, but look, I know the game's changed. I'm not even saying it's for the best or the worst, but how many times you remember playing at a playground or wherever at school, and you just be banging with somebody down low, dude? You remember that? I mean, just banging the shit out of somebody. They're just like trying to get position on them. Boom, boom,
I told
boom.
you, I took pride in getting rebounds, man, when I was younger. When I
Yeah.
was in high school.
Yeah.
I think my junior and my senior year, I led the team in rebounds, and I was only 6'2", but I took pride in it, man.
How many
I did.
times you remember bumping with them like boom, boom? I mean,
Heck
just
yeah.
shots, dude, just shots into each other. And my son didn't have his best offensive game. It wasn't his best offensive, and he's a decent offensive player. And he come out and he said, I could just see that we shouldn't even really been close to this team. This was the best team, in my opinion, in the league. Charlie thinks another team. They're one of them. But anyhow, it wasn't his best offensive game. But when he came out, I always critique him. I'm pretty hard on him. And I said, dude, you played a good game. And I think he was surprised. I said, not every game's got to be, you got a bunch of points or this or that. You can affect the game by taking their best player out of the game. And that's essentially what he did. They still beat us by like 4 points, but that team probably should have beat us by 15 or 20. They were just better than us. And, I told him, I said, you can affect the games in other ways. These kids today think the only way they can affect the games is through scoring points, old Charlie. And my son's one of them. He had that belief. And I just told him how proud I was of him. And I thought he did a really good job. Playing that kind of defense, playing that, rebounding, playing physical, trying to keep their best player out, that takes a lot of energy, dude. It's going to take offense away from you. And that's where I make the argument for these guys today. I know they're good shooters. I know they're really skilled, but there's no contact. I mean, it's easy to stay fresh. It's easy to have great form and put up all these points when there's no contact. And I don't know what it would look like in yesteryears versus today. And I know today's people think they would just roll over them because all them guys ain't skilled. But it wears on you when people are physical with you in a game. I mean, it just does. So that's my take.
Yeah, there's no more Charles Oakleys and who'd he used to battle with? Charles Oakley. That was when the Heat, man,
Coleman.
When the Heat and the Knicks played for about 3 years straight in the playoffs, that was some of the best basketball ever. You had P.J. Brown and Alonzo Mourning on the Heat, and you had Mason and Oakley, and of course you had Patrick Ewing. They fought every single year.
They did. They
fought that matchup, played in the playoffs for like 3 straight years, and they fought every single time. That was when Mashburn was on the Heat, so I was a Heat fan right in that time.
You remember when you used to get a rebound back in the day, and they'd be on you, clear them out with the elbows?
The Heat had a hell of a team back in, dude. Tim Hardaway, Jamal Mashburn, Dan Marley, P.J. Brown, Alonzo Mourning. They had a good team.
The game was different.
Dude, the game, NBA was...
You remember the elbows, though?
We was doing a podcast back then. We would talk so much NBA.
Oh, yeah.
We would talk so much NBA because the NBA was awesome.
You remember clear? I mean, I'm not saying I always did it because you could get a foul called on it, but you didn't always get a foul called on it. But, people get around you, you start swinging the elbows, trying to get them away from you.
I'm trying to teach my son how to, when he gets the ball just like off of a rebound or when the defense is real tight on him, how to hold the ball strong with your elbows out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But then you got to say, but don't swing them elbows.
Yeah.
You can pivot, but just don't swing those elbows because that's how it was in our day. That's what people were doing back in our day.
They swing them.
They were swinging them.
Get off from me. Get off from me.
You were pivoting and a little bit of action with those elbows.
They can catch them in the jaw every once in a while.
Hey, unless you caught somebody in the jaw, you probably weren't getting called back in our day.
No.
They let a lot of that stuff go.
And it might have been worth it.
Tell you what they didn't let go back in our day was reaching.
No, they let them reach. They let them
reaching fouls. Back in my day, even if you reached and got all ball, half the time they were calling it just as it looked like you reached.
Yeah, but they let your hand check.
Dude, now these kids, and I've seen it in the NBA, I've seen it in college and in high school, but I really see it with these young kids. They reach all the way up and down the court. Like at half court, instead of teaching the kid to slide your feet, play defense with your hips and
does not happen no more. Does not happen no more.
They all reach, and they never call the fouls.
And I'm gonna tell you something else. And I saw
bad. It's just creating a bad. But I say that, but they all the way up the ranks, they're all letting them all reach.
And none of them get a defensive stance. They get a defensive stance, but not a really athletic. Like, I'm going to D you up, slap the court. I'm going to go everywhere you go.
Steal.
Yeah,
They all
want to steal. Yeah,
at half court or the 3-point line.
people always say too that people are reward them. Oh, good pick, good pick. Dude, that's a reach-in foul. That's not a good pick. That's a reach-in foul. Don't tell your kid that. After you get it clean, you get it clean.
Unless it is all the way completely clean, they have got to clean that shit up. They got to start calling it, because I'm watching 11-year-olds, and then I got a 9-year-old, and the 9-year-old, their league is even worse. Theirs is like a football game, but the 11 and 12-year-olds, dude, they reach too much, and it's not their fault because they're allowing them to do it. And I guess it's just part of the game now. I hate it.
I'm gonna tell you something.
That is my number one pet peeve on youth basketball right now, is the reach in. I can't stand it.
I tell you, look, I'm not saying they should do it, because I don't think they should do it, because it ain't right. You should be able to play it if you want to play it. But I do think it'd make the game better, funner. You know, if they trying to make some improvement, take the zone back away. Or I know the NBA went to it. Take the zone back.
They don't ever run it, though.
I know, but make people play man-to-man. I'm not saying, and I don't think they should have to do it, but it would make the game funner to watch. I think it allows unathletic people to be in the game. And I get you should be able to do that. I'm okay with that. But if you want to do something to kind of bring back the athleticism and stuff to basketball, the zone allows people that can play defense to play defense.
You're probably for banning the tush push too, aren't you?
I don't have no problem with tush push. Stop it.
I'm just messing.
I don't think you should be able to push players, period. I thought that was against the rule anyways, to push players. It was for a long time.
It was, and then they said they stopped calling it because it was too hard to judge or too hard.
I'm okay with lining up, but you should not be able to push a player. No, I don't think. And if so, the defense should be able to push you back.
The thing is, like, say your receiver catches the ball for a 6-yard gain and he's about to go down, and then 3 people come up and start pushing him. They'll blow the whistle.
Yeah.
But if it's a running back inside the box, they'll let that shit go.
Yeah.
They'll let it go.
Dude, I've seen
you can push them 15 yards.
I've seen it, Charlie. I've seen it.
Watch if it happens on the outsides. Watch if it happens down the field with a receiver or something. They'll blow the whistle quick. But them running backs, the tush push, anything inside the box, it's like free game. Just push them as long as you can.
Here's my problem with it. Let it go a half a yard backwards and see what happens.
Yeah, they blow the whistle.
That's bullshit.
Immediately.
I have no problem with forward progress, but if you're going to give them forward progress on offense, you can't give them all that too. That's too many advantages. Well, I can't give you forward progress, so let you jiggle around and try to get out of this. But if you don't get it, I'm going to give you this mark up here. And sometimes they'll call it back. Dude, but I'm telling you, majority of the time, they'll give them that mark further ahead. Even when they weren't pushed back or tackled back, a lot of times they caused it themselves trying to get more yards.
All right, we got a little off there.
Sorry.
And my sleeper team, did we still got a couple games? Did we go?
Yep, a few games. Saturday, we got Kentucky. We'll be traveling to Missouri. I'm going to say Kentucky and Missouri. I'm going to say Missouri's going to be 2 points in that game or 3. And I'm going to take my Wildcats.
I'll say Missouri's -5.
Okay.
And I'm going to take the Cats.
All right. We have Alabama. We'll be traveling to Auburn. I'm going to say Auburn in that game will be 8 points, 7 or 8 points. And I will take Alabama. I actually think Alabama will beat them. And I do think Auburn's the best team, but I am an Alabama fan.
Where's this at?
Auburn.
Didn't we just see this game like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
I think we did. I'm going to say Alabama gets a little revenge here and finds a way to win that game, but I'm taking the points, which I think is going to be probably 8 or 9 points.
Yep, I took Florida to beat Alabama on Wednesday, but I'm going to say Bama bounces back and beats Auburn to finish the season.
That wouldn't be the worst loss for Auburn.
And I think Auburn's already wrapped up the SEC, so maybe they load management or some shit. Who knows? Maybe they sit some guys. I like Alabama.
I used to swear that Pitino, when he had his really good teams, he would lose right before the tournament on purpose. I used to swear by that.
He admitted that not too long ago.
Did he? Okay. Yeah, I believe it. Remember Mississippi State game right there before the tournament?
That's the one. So he was on, pardon my take, I think, on Barstool, and they asked him, is it ever good to lose a game going into the tournament? And he said,
keep shamble.
He said, he mentioned the Mississippi State game.
I remember.
And he said, that he took Antoine Walker out of that game.
Sure. I remember everything about it.
He said he made up some excuse like in the middle of the game to take Antoine Walker. He said it was some bullshit. I forgot what he said.
I think I had Kentucky betting that game. I think I was pissed.
Bullshit excuse.
I think I remember it being bullshit. I never heard this what you're saying, but I think I had them bet as a kid, and I think I needed them, and I thought that was bullshit too.
He sat him down, and he said, I knew if I sat him down, we had a chance to lose.
Yeah, Twan was good.
Said I had to play it off when the game was over. He's like, I was kind of happy that we lost.
You know what?
Said it, of course it worked out. We ran through the tournament and won it all that year.
Talking about Blitz the Bookie and about gambling, our boy Antoine liked to gamble, didn't he?
He lost it all, I think.
Yeah, he did. Antoine liked to gamble. They said it wasn't nothing for him to be coming in because he made a lot of money, some big contracts, and
he made a whole lot of money.
And he got in there playing that blackjack, son.
Yeah, I think Antoine had a big problem with that because I'm pretty sure he might have lost all his.
I would love to hear, and they're never going to say it, but I'd love to hear some stories from casinos of athletes coming in or people coming in, them taking fortunes from them. I don't want to hear it because I think it's shit.
Yeah, you do. I want to hear it. There's probably stories out there.
Oh, there's been. I read one time a guy lost $240 million. He sold his family farm. He didn't want to be a farmer. The parents died. He sold his family farm for like $250 million. Lost it in Vegas for like 2 or 3 years. He tried to sue him, saying they kept him drunk and up with women.
Whatever.
At what point do you quit? Like you get down to your last 10 out of 240, you're like, okay, I can still live a good life off $10 million.
He's chasing.
Yeah, but even if you chase, you're chasing. Yeah, $240 million, you got $10 million left. Like, dude, I'm walking away at some point. Like, I can take 230 still a fucking shit ton to lose, but then you got 10 left and you've lost everything, but you got 10 million left. At some point, I'm just going to cry, have a bad night. Like, okay, I got 10. I still am going to be wealthy the rest of my life. I'm walking away.
I'm putting all 10 on the greens.
God.
Letting it ride.
And then what? Go blow your brains out?
No, I'm getting my 35 back.
I know, but if it don't, does that blow your brains out, Mom?
I mean, I don't know. If you didn't lost 3, however much you're saying.
It might be, dude. It might.
Yeah, that's, I can't even imagine that.
But you got 10 million left. Like, as much as this sucks.
We've talked about it. Once you make a certain amount of money, and you're used to a certain amount of money, you got hundreds of millions, and then you got 10.
He was probably a son of a farmer. They probably didn't just throw money at him, but his parents died, and it was all his. He was like, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I'm with you. I get it.
Once you're used to a certain lifestyle, it's hard to.
I'll be honest with you. I've never understood people like Antoine Walker that are worth 50 or 100 million wanting to gamble. I've never understood that.
Because you got to gamble so much.
Well, I've just never understood it because to me, I gamble. Look, I gamble in hopes of hitting some money. I don't gamble for the shit of it, dude. I'm trying to win, like flat out. I'm not saying I always do, but I'm trying to win, and I'm sitting here and I'm worth $100 million. I can do other things for excitement. I can go buy some horses and race them at the track or something. I can take that next step. I'm not going to sit there and give my money to a casino. I'm just not doing that.
You could dedicate your time to being the best trotter jockey.
You could, dude. All jokes aside, I've thought about that, actually. You could be big and do that. You can. The Joker, he's into that stuff over there in his country. Have you ever seen that stuff, like in the off season?
I'd love to see that video.
No, it's out there. That was a big thing. Like in the off season, that's what he does. He's a trotter jockey. I'm sure he owns the horses.
Yeah, I got to look that up.
I knew a guy that did what I did, hardwood floors, owned a little small business, and that's what he funded, was buying horses and being a jockey. He was a trainer too. He did it all. I bet you it'd be fun, dude. In the buggy, we're never going to be small enough to be on thoroughbreds, but I bet you it's fun to get on them buggies with that whip. And
that'd be wild.
Yeah, they lean back. And
they don't look like they're going fast, but I bet you if you get in that little fucking cart, I bet you'd be like, oh, shit.
They'd be leaning.
The wheels don't fall off of this thing.
Well, what kills me is they'll be leaning back because that's the thing they do is lean back. And then the horse right behind them will be like right over their head. I'm surprised they don't bite them or something. Just on a second note, you remember that horse race we was watching probably about 3 or 4 years ago, Frenzy Fire. If you ain't never seen it, I think it was Frenzy Fire.
Yeah.
And like Yama or Yarma, they were coming down the stretch, dude. They were having a hell of a stretch duel on a horse race. Hell of a stretch duel. Going at it back and forth. Yarma, I mean, they're just fighting. And horses have personalities. They have heart. They fight. People might not believe that. I've seen it. I mean, they're in a dog fight, neck and neck, going at it.
Coming right at the finish line.
The one horse says, fuck it. He goes over and bites him right in the middle of
not once, like 3-4 times.
It was the wildest thing I've ever
That
seen.
happened with Lightline and was it Flightline? And who was the other horse in the Classic that year?
I know.
And that we went and saw.
Yeah, I don't think
Classic. Was it Flightline?
Flightline and Life is Good.
Didn't one of them two do it?
No. But I've seen some different little things happen.
It was a big horse.
But I've never seen in a stretch duel where they were right beside each other, man, just fighting. I mean, you could tell the horses were fighting. And that one horse said, I'm not losing. Here you go. They say there's horses. I've talked to trainers. They say there's some that there was one trainer I knew. He said there was this horse he had. He was really good, a money-making horse. He said he had to get him out of his barn. Oh, he sold him for half the price. He was going to hurt one of his girls that was working for him and stuff. He said it was just a mean horse, dude. A mean horse.
And things are powerful, too.
Have you
nothing to mess with.
Have you ever seen on the internet, there's that horse. He's like over in Arabia. If you haven't seen it, look it up. I'm sure a lot of people seen it because it was running around as a internet thing for a while. But this Arabian horse, as the other horses were walking by his stall, he would go up and kick up, or he was walking that past their stall and their head be hanging over the stall, and he would raise up and kick them right in the face on purpose. Mean ass horse, man.
Wow, that's wild.
Trying to get ready for horse racing, guys. It's right around the corner.
Yep.
Derby time is getting close.
It's real close. What, probably about 7-8 weeks?
Guys, if you're not into horse racing, we'll show you the way.
Yep.
And just give it a chance. All I'm saying is this. As you listen to us, get you some Derby horses this year. It's just like ball games. They got players, guys coming from different areas. The Kentucky Derby's the first time. They have different circuits around the country. They have the West Coast Circuit, the Kentucky, and the Kentucky Derby's the first time for 3-year-olds where they all meet. They've been winning their circuits, winning their prep races, the Arkansas Derby, Florida Derby, but they all have their own little circuits around that area. And they meet in Kentucky on the first Saturday in May. And it's a good time. 20 horses, which is way too many horses in a race. Shouldn't be 20 horses in a race, but that's why it's the Derby. Most races are like 10 horses.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of horses on the track, but it makes for a fun day. And just like ball games, you try to analyze it. You pick who you like. Trainers and jockeys, they got personalities, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you can pick some winners. There's no funner gambling. I'll say this. It's hard. But there's no funner gambling, there's no funner thrill than having your horse come down the stretch and you win a race and win some money. There's no funner gambling. It's 2 minutes a lot of times or somewhere around there. When you get a good stretch battle, like between two horses and you see them fight and your horse is able to come out on top, it's a high. Wouldn't you say, Charlie? It's a little high.
Hell yeah.
You're sitting there pulling for them. Everybody, it's a
money ride.
Other people's pulling against you because they got the other horse and you're hooting and hollering. Got the whip out with your program and you're tearing up your leg like you're on the horse and your horse comes out on top. There ain't nothing like it. Charlie, have you ever needed something? You need like a horse for a good little hit. Something's going to pay you good. And he comes and it's flying and it's getting close to the wire. It's going to be close. And your horse wins it, edges it out. That feels good, dude.
Yeah, and I've had it the other way. I had the biggest bet I've ever made, I think, on Hot Rod Charlie.
Hot Rod.
He finished third and had a chance.
He had a chance. He had a
At
chance.
the top of the stretch.
He had a chance.
Exactly what you said. I was smacking my leg with my program.
Got busy with it.
And, dude, he had a shot. When he passed us, we were sitting right where we sat for Oaks last year. I was sitting there for Derby.
At that point, he looked like he had a good shot.
He did. He did.
I'm not saying he liked the winner, but he looked like he was like watching horse racing. I kind of know when horses have momentum and they can stop. And
he had a shot.
And he kind of hung a little bit at the very end, which caused it. But when he passed where Charlie was, which is getting close to the finish line, not real close, but a little ways, he looked like he was going to have a big time shot.
He was 9-1, and I had a significant bet on him.
Yeah.
It would have been
nice.
It would have been real nice. Yeah. So there was 3 prep races this week. There's probably a couple more prep races this week.
Right now, my horse is Socialism. I actually bet the race this week. I won. I didn't win a lot on him, but he's kind of a horse I like, so I'm going Socialism.
It's journalism?
Yeah, journalism. Yeah, I'm sorry, journalism. That's it. I did bet him.
Is he the one that beat Barnes?
Yeah, but I'll give Barnes a pass. There was 9. He was, and there was 9 gaps between them and the rest, so it was them 2. But Barnes, he was on the front end, and I felt like the fractions were pretty fast.
Yeah, so. Barnes looked good.
He did. I give Barnes all the credit. I would go with Barnes just as much. But I always say if once I win with one and win a little money with them, I get tied into them. So journalism as of right now, I'm not. He ain't my lock, but I did win some money with him, so I might try to stick with him.
I'm still on Citizen Bull. Unfortunately, he is the favorite, which I hate. I hope he does not stay that way because I'd like a little bit longer odds, but I'm sticking with him. I had him in the juvenile in the Breeders' Cup, and I'm sticking.
It'll come down if he wins his next prep.
Yeah, and he came back strong this year. All the good ones are coming up here in the next few weeks.
Yep.
Because, I mean, Derby is
first Saturday of May, 2 months.
Yeah, we're about 8 weeks away. So, yeah, you got about 4 to 6 weeks of all the big preps coming in. So we'll try to talk a little bit more about them as Derby approaches. Anthony, you got anything else for Saturday? Man. We good on the game?
Nah, we're good. Guys,
Kentucky needs 2 wins this week, Anthony.
Yep.
We need a win tomorrow against LSU, and then we need to go and get a real big one to finish the year at Missouri. And please don't have to play on Wednesday next week. And if you're not doing anything, guys, y'all got free time, turn a game on, because I'm telling you, tomorrow there's 2 or 3 other conferences that are starting their tournaments, and the stuff gets fun. Especially these early tournaments, those teams only get in the big tournament if they win their conference.
I hope the upsets stay there. The NIL, I'm worried about it, but I hope a lot of the upsets are still happen. I think you're right, but I am worried about it, though. I'm just worried that a lot of those teams maybe have had their talent picked from them because of NIL. But I'm with you. I want to stick with that. We're going to still see the upset.
I think it's working both ways, though, because some of them guys that are playing for your bigger teams that don't get chances the first year or so, they're also going to the smaller schools that'll pay them, and they'll get the chance. So I think it goes both ways. Your top guys for the mid-majors and stuff are going to Duke and Kentucky, but your second.
But I also think that's kind of like
Duke are now going to those schools.
Maybe some of those, they needed to be in those schools all along.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that could be true.
And maybe they got the lesser guys maybe deserve to be in the bigger schools all along, but just didn't develop out or underwrite. And I don't know. We're going to see. I want to see the upset. That's what's fun about March. I'm with you. I think there's still be them, but I am scared.
Dude.
It is
so much different than football. Like,
the best team don't always
close,
win.
And I mean,
you're right. A
couple shots, a little here and there. Any team can win. You keep it close, and you throw up one from 3/4 court, and you can change a lot of things.
Yeah, that's right.
I've seen that last week, but just keep it close in these games. So I'll be watching some of the smaller conferences because I think that's fun. Because, like I said, that is their championship.
I'll be honest with you. If you want to watch on NIL, what it looks like, that's what it is, because a lot of those schools don't have NIL budgets.
Yeah, you're probably right. A lot of them don't spend pretty much anything.
They don't. A lot of them don't have collectives. So you're seeing basketball that's still at its purest form right there, which I like it.
All right, well, Cats, go get it done. Get us 2 wins. We'll come back, talk to you guys next week, depending on what day. We might be sitting here on Wednesday. Hopefully we get it done before Wednesday. But if we're sitting here on Wednesday, we'll probably be sitting here watching the first round SEC tournament game. Hopefully it's not Kentucky.
Hopefully it's not 1 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that's it, guys. If y'all listened all the way through, thank you all. As always, find some games, win some money this weekend, figure out who you like in the tournament, because these next couple weeks are going to be fun. Blitz the bookie, guys.
See ya.
Facts all day. Anthony's like, nah, I got the better parlay. Argue about the spread, it's a fierce debate. But when it comes to Wildcats, they align their fate. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Hustle deals on the line. Charlie Scassy's gonna make you shine. Anthony's heart where the numbers combine. Put your cash down, ride the incline. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. From the tip off to the final play, they grind. Mike's on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. The bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums. Final play, they grind. Mics on fire, bets on their minds. Arguing odds till the last rewind. Blue and white, it's a bond you'll find. Bond you'll find. Blitz the bookies where the knowledge reigns. Charlie and Anthony bring the heat like flames. Talking parlays, breaking down the games. Kentucky Wildcats, they beat the same drums.